Ladies, gentlemen, and bowlers from around the world, welcome to the Kegel Show. My name is Don Agent, and on this week's episode, we are delighted to have Mabel Cummins with us to share the journey that she's been on at such a young age. Thank you so much for coming out, Mabel.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Normally, I bring like a piece of paper with some notes on it. For you, I had to kind of bring my whole notebook with me as well. I've had a lot of impressive resumes on here, but going back to your age, I'm going to start out that you're 17 as of April, correct?
Yes.
So happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
You are currently from Elburn, Illinois, but you you were born in Alaska.
Yes.
And we'll touch base on that a little bit later because there's obviously some pretty good players up in Alaska, as we all know. You got 5 gold medals, most recently one in the 2018 World Youth Championships. Your 2016 Junior Gold Championship U15 winner, 4-time USBC Illinois State Pepsi champion, 2017 USBC National Youth Ambassador, which to me is the most impressive out of that entire array of credentials. You've rolled 2 300s during the same round last year at Team USA Trials and a runner-up at this year's USA Amateur event. That's pretty outstanding, to be honest. You should be very, very proud of yourself. Going back to, you're born in Alaska. You got any favorite bowlers from Alaska?
Sean Rash.
Sean Rash.
Yes.
Yeah, he's pretty popular,
yes,
pretty solid player.
He's amazing. On the PBA 50 Tour, Ron Moore.
Another outstanding man. Yeah. Did you get any interaction growing up with these two to some degree?
You know, I was pretty young, so my parents probably had interactions. I don't remember a whole lot. I just remember being really little and really struggling to throw the ball onto the lane at our bowling center.
Touche. And we've got, for the audience, we've got Mabel's mom, Kim, is actually setting offset here to kind of proof this show for us. What age were you when you started bowling?
3 or 4. So I've been bowling for quite a while now.
Why'd you start?
So in Alaska, there's not really a whole lot to do.
Okay.
Sled dog racing, my parents did that. My mom she was awesome at it. So because there's not a lot to do, go to a bowling center. So Sunday nights before my dad would go to work, he would take my mom and I to go bowling, and that's kind of where I fell in love with it. Then when we moved to Illinois for my dad's job, took a few lessons. Diandra Asbaty was one of my
unbelievable player.
Oh my gosh, she's amazing. I love Diandra. So she was one of my first most notable lessons.
Okay.
She taught me how to be, and is still teaching me, how to be an ambassador, a mentor, how to give back to the sport. So Diandra is probably one of the first reasons that I fell in love with bowling.
And she was a phenomenal ambassador. I don't know that she's competing full time or not now because I'm not on that circuit anymore. But I remember throughout the 2000s, fans loved her. Just a wonderful athlete as well. How big a role did your parents play? This is when you can throw out the kudos or throw them under the bus. It's your choice here.
Okay. My parents have done an incredible job supporting me. I really couldn't ask for more. My mom is the sweetest person, coming to cheer me on at my tournaments. She doesn't know that much about bowling, but she is a great cheerleader. So thank you, Mom.
Sometimes that's the most important. My mother was in every tournament, Kim, I'll be honest with you, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and my dad, on the more technical side of things, he used to bowl a little bit. My mom bowled a little bit too, but not to the level that I bowl. But so he helps me take care of my equipment, make sure all of my slides and my heels are clean and ready, ready to go in my bags. All my stuff is prepared. So he really helps me, and he's given some of the responsibility to me now that I'm going away to college. But he's really helped me see how to organize and be completely prepared for every tournament. So thank you, Dad, for helping me do that.
I'm glad to hear that because I'll tell you, most of the success stories that I've gotten on this show, especially with younger players, it ends up going back to good parenting and great parental support, obviously. And I still think that's a very crucial role that parents need to play with the development of youth in any sport, without a doubt. How about this? Who's your favorite female bowler? And I know it's a tough, because you've met a bunch, so you might have all right. You can name a couple if you need to.
Verity Crawley. Not just saying that because she's Kegel alumni. Yeah. She has an incredible physical game. Anybody who's seen her bowl can attest to that. Mm-hmm. But we're about the same stature. Pretty small. Pretty small people. So my coaches have used her as an example of how to develop my physical game.
Oh, nice.
And she's super nice.
She really is.
Yes.
I mean, we're biased because obviously she's part of our Kegel family, and Krista's her significant other is also part of the staff here. So it's always fun to see both of them together, and I know she's doing well out on tour.
Yes.
How about male bowler?
Gonna throw back a little bit here.
Okay.
But he's done very well recently on the PBA tour. Norm Duke. Enough said.
Preaching to the choir on that. I was so excited, as much as, I'm a big fan of Belmo, and I love Simonson, and I love the development of some of these new styles that have come out, though some people aren't necessarily happy with them. But it still goes back to, when you're as good at something as somebody like Norm Duke is, this person's going to be able to adapt and work around no matter what's thrown at him. I think we saw that on his last, obviously, with the ones that he went through. It's just been unbelievably incredible. You've come down here for quite some time.
Yeah.
Okay. How long have you been coming to the Kegel Training Center?
Since I was 12, I think. So
a good portion of your developing years getting into the competitive aspect.
Especially at a higher level. They've really helped me develop and take my game to that next level, which you have to be elite to compete at such at the world level.
Oh, yes.
Really.
Absolutely. I mean, in these tournaments that exist now that did not exist when I was competing, the junior golds and some of these things like this, I mean, you're competing against the best of the best, all around the country in those situations as well. Any specific people at the KTC that you'd throw a bone out to as far as saying, hey, you really kind of helped me get to this area?
Dell, he's been my coach ever since I started coming to the training center, and of course Ruben. Both of them have really helped me develop my physical game.
I remember, it's funny, this morning I'd asked Rick Wiltsey, I go, well, so are you coaching Mabel's training? He goes, no, that's Dell only, or Ruben. It's like back off type of thing. I brought this picture up because this was such a beautiful thing that you put together to send to Ruben for his help as well, and obviously you were at a very young age at that point in time. Flashing forward though, when I was bowling was not a letter sport, as we called it in high school, and there was no real avenue by any means to get into any type of collegiate bowling, much less have an education possibly supplemented by that skill. You are going to Vanderbilt. Now, you're currently still in high school, correct?
Senior.
You've signed to Vanderbilt, correct?
Yes.
So for those out there in the public, hard work bowling, pretty solid college there. Okay, I mean, that's how cool is that, and what are you looking forward to the most, honestly? I mean,
Vanderbilt's an incredible school, so I'm really excited to go there. Pre-med, so my major is biomedical engineering.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'm going to go engineering and then pre-med track, so obviously that's an incredible school to go to. But so my high school didn't have I didn't bowl with my team, so I don't really have that much team experience besides, World Youth Championships, but that's very minimal.
Sure.
So the thing I'm most excited to do is bowl with the team.
And that's a different deal, because you mentioned in one of your articles I was reading up on about like Baker format and stuff, because that's really, when you start getting into that, collegiate bowling is, I'll tell you what, that's going to be very interesting for you, I think. Vanderbilt's an outstanding school. Academically pre-med, that's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
You've got a 4.0 GPA right now, or did I undercut you?
It's like 4.1 something.
All right, so I was
those
close.
AP classes really bumped me up.
I was close at least. So academically, I mean, you've set your sights, pretty solid. What about from sporting? How far do you hope bowling takes you? Is it just through college education, or do you want to run this journey a little bit farther?
I would love to continue bowling, PWBA events.
Okay.
Maybe like a women's U.S. Open here or there. Pick up some college like singles championships. But the thing that's the most important to me is actually from the coaching aspect. So there have been so many incredible people along my journey that have helped me become who I am. Diandra Asbaty, Dell, local coaches, and I want to give back to the sport because it has given so much to me, and I, as hard as they might try, I can't really repay what they've done for me. It's incredible.
Well, part about being an ambassador, you're probably already doing that, not aware of that at this point in time. You know a lady named Katie Thornton?
Yes.
Okay, so I had her on the show a couple weeks ago, and it's almost like I'm interviewing a younger version of her because, she was just so encapsulated with coaching and just trying to give back to what had been given, and I think it's wonderful. But stick with the pre-med, do some coaching on the side, at least from a financial standpoint, and definitely bowl the U.S. Open, I would say that. What was your first, I'm leaving the country, okay, I'm going to compete and represent the United States, your first international traveling experience like?
The travel part was
horrendous.
Stressful.
Done it.
Yes.
It's a long flight if you're going to Asia.
Oh my gosh, so long. Not as long as some other countries. Our flight was like 9.5, 10 hours. So I went from Chicago O'Hare to Dallas Fort Worth and then to Paris. So coming to the Paris flight, I had already been on an airplane for an hour and a half, 2 hours. So that just kind of built on,
yes.
I definitely had some sore legs. I was trying to stretch out, aisle seat, of course, but it was really hard.
It's a long time on a plane,
yes.
Especially if you don't do it for a living. A lot of us here do it more than we'd like. I'm flying to Denmark on Monday, actually, but for social reasons, I'm taking vacation, so I don't mind looking at that flight. So, but what about everything else? Cultural? Did you enjoy being around all kinds of different ethnicities and cultural interactions as far as in these events?
I loved it. Being around people from different countries,
exactly.
they're all so nice, and really seeing how other people viewed bowling was refreshing because there's not. They don't always see it the same way we do here in the U.S. We're very competitive. For some countries, it's more a chance to go out and make new friends and be an ambassador for the sport. And for other countries, it's about winning those gold medals.
Correct.
So I got to see both sides to that, and I really enjoyed it.
And
it was
you
awesome.
made friends all over the world.
Yes,
real
so
quick.
many. Yes.
Those relationships will last forever. That's exciting. What is your dream, if you had to pick a tournament, what's your dream tournament to win?
Probably the Women's U.S. Open. It's very prestigious. So for after college, maybe if I go and bowl a few PWBA events, I'd like to win one of those.
If you had to pick your fifth on the show, who's your lineup you're bowling against? Who would be your dream lineup? I didn't prepare you for this question.
For experience that I would be gaining.
Absolutely.
Am I trying to win here?
No, it would be your dream lineup. Yeah.
Okay.
You could be out the first game, but
okay. Shannon O'Keefe.
Great pick.
Very, very fiery on the lanes and off the lanes. She's incredible. I love Shannon.
Phenomenal coach, too.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Her husband both.
Yes. Danielle McEwen, also stand out on the tour and on Team USA. Verity, of course, have to put her in there. And then, my assistant coach from Vanderbilt, Josie.
Too cool.
Yes. So
sounds like a pretty solid lineup.
Yeah.
All right, I normally finish these shows off with, do you have any advice for any up-and-coming youth that are sitting here looking at you and reading about you in the bowler journals that are in the back of the bowling center somewhere going, man, how can I get to this point?
3 pieces of advice.
Excellent.
Find a really good coach that can help you develop your game and take you to the next level if you want to be elite. Practice your spares. I know everybody says that, but if you're not bowling well and you don't have a line, making your spares can turn 140 into a 180.
Different swing getting a check.
Yeah, and a 180 doesn't take you out of a tournament. A 140 does.
Yeah.
And my last piece of advice, probably the most important, would be to have fun. Enjoy bowling, because if you don't enjoy it, if you don't have fun bowling tournaments, if you don't have fun being with people and competing at a high level, you're not going to survive long in bowling at a really high level. Now, I'm not saying that you should like to lose, but losing is part of the process, and it shouldn't make you want to quit bowling.
That is very sound advice, young lady. I'll tell you what, it was an absolute pleasure having you on this show, and I thank you for coming out very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for today. Keep those wrenches turning. Have a wonderful day.